vegan trainer.
Motivation, maybe even a little kick in the butt. Now, many of you, okay, and I say this because I've worked with so many people, I kind of know how a lot of people are thinking based on the repetition, I guess you could say. And many of people, many of you are, you think you're right. Let me just say that. You think you're right about everything. You think you've heard it all. And it's something that I see in a lot of adults. We don't like to think that we believe in a boogeyman. We don't like to think that our values and what we learned in college, you know, we're educated. But no, if they didn't teach me that in college, in my 10 years in college, then it can't be right. We like to often think that we are always right based on what we've been through in life. And if I haven't heard it, then it can't be right. But there's a problem there. And the reason why I say this is because many of you who think like this are often finding yourself in the same situation. But you're still struggling with food. You're still struggling with your weight. You're still struggling with issues. So it's not necessarily about what you've learned already. It's what you have to learn and what maybe you might need to open your mind up to. Because it happens in the financial side as well. Of course, as I do a little consulting over there. And I often see that it depends on what school of thought you come from and whether or not you're open to listen to the other school. Because
I'm gonna stop there. Shout out to everyone who's listening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you paying attention, and you are here today with me. So today, Mental Health Mondays, as y'all know, I come through. I'm usually in my room, bringing some mental wellness and working to not only make it a tradition in others' lives, but more first and foremost, my own life. And so that was the I Am the Vegan Trainer, and he was talking about adults and our resistance to believing that we actually believe in the boogeyman. And what he meant by that was, at least what I took from it, was our refusal to believe that we could possibly be wrong, that we could be believing in something that might not be true for everyone as true as it is for us. And when we open ourselves to different truths, to different schools of thought, different trains of thought, we open ourselves up to new type of rides, new experiences, new schools, new learnings, and really, in all honesty, having new perspectives and new ways of exuding and expressing ourselves and our highest self. And so I'd like to come on here and tell you guys that this helps me. And recently I've been working and navigating my way through, when I know something, what do I do? What do I do after this knowing? I'm aware, you know, we all have experiences where we feel things. Things happen, we feel it, we feel something. And I've been working on personally being more responsive, being more reflexive, being more aware, being more in tune to not only my body, but especially of my mind, and in those things working together, and not against one another, but also working and breathing through having my mind not be a slave to my body, to past experiences, to traumas, to memories, to habits, to cognitions that aren't developed yet, or cognitions that are conditioned in certain ways. And so what I'd like to offer you today is just that action and awareness. I have a friend, I spoke with him a couple days ago, and he was saying, he posted on his page, consciousness requires action. Once you are conscious and aware of something, you are required to act on it in some way, shape, or form. Your body, your mind, that is just the way natural law works, you know. Whether you are aware of it or not, when a baby starts, once they are aware, once they begin to walk, there's this knowing, there's this what's the word I'm looking for? There's this required action of their bodies and their minds that is subconscious. How they walk, you know. I have knowings, and I've had some knowings, and in that conversation, he was saying to me, "What do you need?" And I think for a lot of us, and myself included, we forget about our needs, right? We're reacting off what we like, what we don't like, what we think we like, what we think we don't like, what we feel, what we think that the feeling is saying, when in all actuality, we are being presented with something we asked for. We just have to figure out, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? Not blame myself, not judge myself, not invalidate myself, and not beat myself up for it, and just like be in a space of uncertainty, be in a space of discomfort. And for me, I found out that I didn't really know what I needed. I lost sight of that. I had learned that I put so much of myself and my passion into someone else's need. I don't even know that I can say that I put my passion or my needs into someone else, because I can't even speak for that other place, right? Like I can't speak for that environment. And how often do we feel that, right? Where we're giving ourselves to something constantly, with devotion and dedication and loyalty, and we don't really know if we're getting it back. We don't know what getting it back actually looks like for us, because we're just going off a feeling, right? How do we navigate that? And so I would say the last couple weeks, I've been dealing with that, dealing with not knowing what I need, feeling not so much unappreciated, but not connected to what I'm doing, not knowing why I'm doing it, feeling like a slave to my body. I am doing this thing because this is what I do. This is who Damo is. D is Coach D, Dominique. This is what I do. I step in the gym. I handle business. This is who I am. Learning that sometimes who we are, or who we've programmed ourselves to believe that we are, is the very thing that's stopping us from becoming who we are meant to be and who we actually want to be. I've been a head coach for 10 years. Scratch that. I've been a head coach, for 10 years. Yeah, I've been a coach for 10 years. I would say 11, but been a head coach for 10 years. I'm now entering in the middle of my 4th year as an assistant, and it's not been easy for me. And I think that is the first time I'm saying that out loud. And it doesn't get easier. And I think the more that I have committed to feeling similar and feeling connected and feeling like I belong, I think in some ways I have widened the gap for myself, because I haven't been as open. I haven't been as reflexive as I thought I was, because I forgot about me. And I think a lot of us are guilty of that. We forget about us. We forget about our needs. And then when we remember, I need something, now we're ready to fight the world, because the world didn't give it to us. But wait, did you check in? Were you responsible for the things that you needed? Were you responsible for ensuring that you remembered the things that you needed? Your body remembered, your mind remembered, so that you led with love for yourself first, and not just for what you were doing. And I think it's easy to get caught up in what we're doing, especially when we see the fruits of our labor. You start to see if you think about a farmer in his garden, and you start to see your beans sprout, and you start to see your flowers come to root, and you start to see I know for me what's exciting is to see a sunflower. Because when a sunflower comes out it kind of comes out bigger than what you expected, but then also smaller than what you expected. It's like, wait, that's going to be a sunflower? But I'm like, but wait, that's a really big sprout. So it's like all these different types of surprises. And how do we get back to that space where we're knowing of what we need, secure in what we're being, and feeling appreciated for what we're doing. And I think having a clear intention behind each one of those things, the knowing, the feeling, and the doing, is important to check in with. And so I want to offer that action and awareness. How do we navigate that? And so I've been in my book all day, getting prepared for today, and really wanting to be present with how I felt. Feelings of being overwhelmed, feelings of disconnection, feelings of uncertainty. And so when you know that that's what you're feeling, you got to act on it in some way. And so I was watching some things on Instagram, and the Will Smith meme came up. I'm the vegan trainer. His meme came up. I found, I'll tell you, when you want something, the universe will always provide the answer to you. If you have knowledge, let others light their candle in it. When you feel like you have something, you gotta let people literally light their candle in it. Because what that means is they're not adding to your fire. They are taking from the fire you have started. And what is given in return is that knowing that your light, a light, will forever shine. It will forever burn. It will forever be felt, because you were giving in that way. They were taking in that way. And what was received for both was that exchange of love, that exchange of light and life. So what I prepared was, I don't know, I was writing and I prepared something. It sort of looks like a a workbook exercise, when you're sitting in one of those professional development meetings. And I really wanted to break it down, action and awareness. How do we navigate? And so what I've come up with, this is how it looked when I first was writing, and this is the revised portion. So action and awareness. What is that? When you're aware of something, you must act on it. So consciousness requires action. Talked about having that conversation with my friend, needing advice. The first thing he asked me is, well, what do you need? Being aware of what we need when we feel something. It's easy to feel something and be in the space of whether we liked it or not. Will Smith talked about that. When we are doing things based on what we like and what we don't like, we limit ourselves to the lessons. We limit ourselves to the ability to change our realities, our constant issues, any consistencies in our life, any hindrances that block us from not only our truths and our higher selves, but the understanding of others and that layer of compassion. And so consciousness requires action. Simply be open. And learning from a different school of thought. I brought up the I Am Vegan trainer, where he talked about that today, where he was talking about adults sometimes are afraid to accept that they still believe in the boogeyman, whatever that boogeyman is. We think we're right based on our experiences and what we know and what we've been through. But what we must recognize and must acknowledge is that people have different schools of thought. And I love that phrase because when I think of the coach and myself, we come from very different schools of thought. A lot of work has been put into seeing the similarities. And, when you're in a space where things are different for you, you kind of want to feel what feels common so you can relate to it, so you can connect with it. What I'm learning is that you have to be present with both. You have to be proud of both, and you have to be open to both. Being different is great, because I think that is what has gotten us to where we are now as a program. And I think being different and expressing those differences, exuding and letting one another light our candles in this different train of thought, this different school of thought, enables us to grow as individuals on and off the court. And so being met with opposition, being met with a different school of thought, and then being in a position where I'm not in power, where my authority isn't the final authority. It's been learning for me. It's been growing, and it's been hard. It's been hard, and so using this model, learning from a different school of thought. What does that mean? What does be open mean? What does that look like? And I personally believe it's being reflexive. Reflexive is, movement, within your reflection. As you're reflecting, today I looked at my old videos when I was a head coach and reflected on how am I different between then and now? What have I learned? Looking for ways to appreciate my new situation, right? My new position, and looking for ways that they are the same. Being a coach, period. How does that look? How did it look? How does it look now? Being aware and open to the things that I have grown, looking back on who I used to be in the space that I was in. And so to be reflexive, awareness, of your needs, in order to be intentional, you have to be knowing. And my friend had said that to me too. He said, well, when you know what you know, you have to move with that. You don't have to discuss it. You don't have to announce it. You gotta know it, and you gotta move with that knowing and that understanding. And that's where that ego gets killed. Because you understand what you understand and you know what you know. I am knowing that I am a good coach. I am knowing that I'm a great coach. I am knowing that I'm an awesome coach. I'm also knowing that I'm a growing coach. And if I want to continue to be a growing coach and grow in my greatness, then I have to be open, and I have to be met with opposition. I have to be met with frustration, and I have to feel different feelings. I have to feel whatever it is: joy, pain, trial, error, growth, experience, love, loss, win, gain. I have to feel all these things in different ways. So that way I can remain open, remain active in my reflections. So that way I can be intentional about what I want because I'm aware of what I need. And I for me, that was very powerful. And once you're aware of what you need, you now have this sense of knowing. You're reminded of your truth. And for me, my truth with basketball is to leave a legacy. For my family, for my children, for my name, for my parents, but for the game. Like, first and foremost, I want to leave a legacy on the game. 10, 15, 20 years from now, believing for myself what I've told my boys, what I'm telling my fellow coaches, what I've been telling everyone in Columbia Prep that I've come encounter with, really believing for myself what I tell other people, which is you can do anything. You can be whatever it is that you want to be. And for me, within basketball, I want to be known. I want to be great. I want to change the game in some way that not only is focused on better athletes, but stronger people. Athletes have a great power, a great platform, and a profound influence. And I'm very much believing in that. And I think that the more we change and we grow and we develop our athletes, the more we are changing and growing the people who watch them, the people who love them, the people who idolize them. And so, that's my truth. And being aware of what I need to get back to that, right? Like, what do I need to feel like I'm doing that? What sense of knowing have I not tapped into that I may feel? And sometimes we feel like that, right? Like there's something we're giving to other people. There's an energy, there's a love that we're giving that we don't feel like we're giving back. We're getting back. And what I encourage is that you ask yourself, what have you not taken? What have you not been aware of? And what spaces have you not created? And also, lastly, has this, whatever this is for you, has it really taken away whatever it is that you feel you need? I think sometimes as adults, again, going back to what Will Smith was saying about what we like and we don't like, we have a tendency to think that when we don't like something, it's not what we need. Um, and that's not the case. That's not the case. Uncertainty, discomfort, they're all necessary feelings. And just because you feel it doesn't mean that it is bad for you. It means, it could mean, it does mean that it's there, and it's there for a reason, and it is up to you to gain perspective, to be reflexive, to have your own sense of knowing in your truth that predates the situation. So even with myself, what I've been feeling, in all honesty, is unheard. And getting back to a sense of knowing. Well, I'm knowing that we speak two different languages. Just because people speak or use the same words doesn't mean that they have the same meaning, feeling, energy. And so when those things are misunderstood, maybe they're not expressed that they're understood or exuded that it's understood, you get discouraged. I know lately I've been very discouraged, wondering what is my why, wondering, did I make the right decisions in not pursuing my AAU program any further. And having the honesty to say that, to say, I don't know if I made the right decisions, and being okay with that, gaining perspective on that, and so what is your truth? What is your truth? And if you don't know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to say, right now, I am unaware of what my truth is. I want to know what my truth is. I think for me, there were some things that I just was not aware of. When my friend asked me, what do you need? At that moment, I really didn't have an answer. I just was not aware. And so, yeah, when you have that sense of knowing and you become aware of your needs, you gain perspective and you gain your truth. And that takes time, that takes time. You're going from the action itself to the awareness of the action, and then you're feeling it in time. And from there, now there's an understanding and a consciousness that requires action. And so I am saying that be open, in that moment, be open. And from being open, be open to learning from a different school of thought. And once you're able to be open to learn from a different school of thought, you are now reflexive. You're moving in this reflection, in this awareness, in this intention of knowing. And once you do that, you then can gain a sense and an awareness for your needs. My need is to feel knowing about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. My passion for basketball is very deep, stems very deep for me. So how do I tap into the sense of knowing that I'm going in the right direction? And I think that's for everyone, right? We just want that affirming message, signal, and sign that we're going in the right direction. And I think it's an intention to move that way, and then there's a faith, right? So being reflexive, that affords us the awareness of our needs, perspective, and our truth, which is that sense of knowing. And from that perspective and that truth, and through that sense of knowing, now you have confidence. Confidence is interesting. I always break this word down because it starts with a con. So what is a con? Opposition. And then when you look at fidens, movement in faith. When you have the suffix of DENCE, independence, performance, it is a structure of continuous movement, or a continuous thing. And so through opposition, with faith, we must continue, whatever it is. And I believe that's what confidence is. When you are in any space and you're being met with any type of situation, stimulus, or opposition, you are continuing to move with the faith of knowing your truth and having the ability to gain perspective. And that only comes when you're met with something different. Um, Confidence is a big piece for me. I like to think of myself as a very confident person, and knowing what my truth is, constantly breathing through that, constantly knowing what I want. And I can honestly say that I'm fortunate that I was met with this latest opposition because I had sort of lost sight of what my needs were, what my goal, if you will, what my truth is, why is my why. And so confidence. When we are met with opposition, you have the opportunity to learn outside or contrary to your own experience. And that is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to learn through a contrary experience. And I think that's the biggest part for anyone who's looking to grow in their craft. Getting out of their comfort zones, and then getting out of the new comfort zones that they created through the discomfort that they were in. It's just human habit. How do we become comfortable through discomfort? We create ways, we create lanes. I've definitely, at this new school, created lanes and ways for me to be more comfortable. And they were great, right? They showed me things about myself that I didn't know. But now there's an understanding that those comforts that I've created have not at all taken away the real discomfort that I still feel. And being present with both, meaning there's still some growing to do. There's still some reflection. There's still some confidence to exude. There's still some classes to be taken at another school of thought. But then also, on the obverse, is action, right? And so through this confidence, and what I have written here is confidence plus truth. And so truth comes back again. How do we act in our truth in the face of opposition? With confidence, with reflection, being reflexive. It all sounds great. How do we do that? What does that look like? And so what I've written here is spirit works, it talks. Confidence, which is opposition and movement with faith, plus truth equals right action. And I think that looks like a lot of different things. For me, it's being still. I have a tendency, I won't say that, I am a mover. And so it takes more work for me to be still. It takes a greater intention for me to be still. And so what I have been working on for myself is when I feel something, when there's a stimulus, I'm still. Learning to be more responsive and really building what that looks like for me. For me, it's silence and solitude. My friends can tell you very well. When D's going through something, or she need a moment, she's not talking to anybody. She's closing the door. She'll see you in a couple of days. And it's not because I don't value anyone else's energy, but it's because I have a lot of movement in my own, and I want to sit with it. Because my body will move way before my mind can even say wait. And I'm present with that. I'm present with the fact that I'm a mover. I want to move first. Shoot first, ask questions last, and then I'm like, oh no, wait, I didn't mean to kill you. And so learning how to, in the moment, exude that type of stillness. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. Action and awareness. How do we navigate it? Feeling in time. That is what action is. An action happens, we're aware of it, and now there's a feeling in that moment in time. Consciousness, it requires action. Once we are aware, once we are conscious, once we are knowing that something has happened, our bodies, our minds, they're requiring us to do something. And what I'm offering is to be open at that time. Be open to learning from a different school of thought. Be reflexive so that you are afforded the awareness of your needs. You are reminded of what you need and what your intentions were before this situation arose. And once you can take a moment to create that space of awareness, of yourself, for yourself, with yourself, then there's this sense of knowing. That sense of knowing is your truth and perspective. The perspective is the opposition. The truth is your intention. And from that sense of knowing, and as we are moving with great intention, with our intention, and this perspective, we now have confidence. We are now moving and exuding with and through confidence. Confidence, C-O-N, that con. It is when we are met with opposition, we have the opportunity to learn outside or contrary to our own experience. And then that fidence, that suffix of that D-E-N-C-E, that constant movement, independence, flowing, performance, that movement with faith. And from there, once we have this confidence, once we are aware and we are reflexive, now aware of our intention, open to perspective, we are now confident. And with that confidence, we can now revisit our own truth. I'm ready to walk into uncertainty. I am open to learning from a different school of thought. I am knowing of my intention, of my goal, of my purpose, of my passion, as well as my plight. I'm aware, I'm knowing. I can hold on to my truth. I can love my truth. And with that confidence, that perspective, that faith in movement, and that truth that I hold, that philosophy, that thing that keeps me going, I now can make the right action for my highest self. Because now my body has consulted my mind has consulted my body, my brain has checked in with my heart has prevailed and previewed my body, and they are all talking, and they are all in conversation, and they are all going back and forth with each other. My body wants to do this. My mind is saying, and my heart is saying, remember why, remember who you are. And now we can answer all these questions together, mind, body, and spirit. And from there, you have your desired results. I truly believe that. And they're for your highest self. And so when we operate outside of what we like and don't like, when we are open to a new school of thought that does present opposition, that does look different, that does not speak to who we think we are, we are able to become aware of who we actually are. And so that is what I want to offer you today. And so, Mental Health Mondays, share your tips. If you have any mental wellness, any rituals, practices in which that you are doing to help make mental wellness a tradition in your life, reach out, #MHM, Mental Health Mondays. And yeah, join us, join the conversation, join that movement. We are looking every day for more and more people to join the conversation. Stay blessed, y'all.